welcome. 4 matches, 23 goals. That was the wonderful start yesterday for the Whatney Cup, a wonderful start also, of course, for the new football season. Today we bring you the highlights. I can assure you that there are plenty of them, of the outstanding match in that first round, Reading against Manchester United. A match of 5 goals that also marked the return of Dennis Law and some wonderfully attractive football too from the 3rd Division club, Reading. Also today, 3 characters that of course you'll remember from our World Cup panel, Jimmy Hill, Malcolm Allison and of course Pat Curran. Pat, who indeed played in that game yesterday. Right now, let's first of all get on with the action from Reading yesterday, the match between Reading and Manchester United. Well, first the Reading team, one that came so close to promotion to the 2nd Division last season. Manager Jack Mansell has practically turned the playing staff upside down in the last year, and players like Dennis Butler, Tony and Barry Wagstaff have had a lot of experience in a higher division. Reading aim to play attractive attacking football, and nobody attacks with greater venom than the number 8 Les Chappell, formerly at Rotherham and Reading's top scorer last season with 25 goals. But the challenge for Reading today obviously is going to be a stern one, because Manchester United have brought with them a powerful team, and by their own high standards United would not have been satisfied with 8th position in the 1st Division last season. Now they get this chance to build for greater success. The side has all its famous faces, bar Nobby Stiles. And it's significant, too, that Dennis Law is back again for them, because for so long, Dennis Law has been plagued by a knee injury. He's now fought his way back. This, unquestionably, is an important day for Dennis Law. It's test match weather for this first game. The crowd obviously thoroughly enjoying that. And now the kickoff.
So a new football season then gets underway. Reading, top scorers in the whole of the Football League, with 87 goals last season, getting away against this redoubtable task of facing Manchester United. Williams losing it there to Kidd, and now Morgan for Manchester United. Paul Edwards, the number 2, to Bobby Charlton. His last game was a long way away from Reading, away in Leon in a quarter-final of the World Cup. And there's a beautiful ball from Charlton, but Tony Dunn, in fact it was, who stumbled as he went for it. And so it's a throw now to Manchester United, and George Best with it. Sadler obligingly running into a position for him, and Perrin letting it go for Morgan. It's not going to be easy out there with fairly thick grass, a pitch in beautiful condition, but a temperature, I would think, well into the 70s. Perrin to Edwards. And a challenge there from Williams, which puts the balls into touch again for a throw to Manchester United, and Pat Perrin with it. Wagstaff doing well to get that one back. Barry Wagstaff back to Stephen Death, the goalkeeper for Reading. Poor kick there by Death, though, straight to Bobby Charlton. And now Dennis Law. How good to see him again in first-team action. He's worked so hard this summer to get over that knee injury of his, but that ball quite easily cut out by the Reading defence. And now it's Williams again to Will Dixon. Dixon in turn leaving it to Tony Wagstaff. Tony Wagstaff again. Chappell well up, and Habin well up as well, and so too is Cumming. And here's Habin, the number 9, only 5'7". Through now to Bell. Can he get a shot in? Habin, and finally Edwards for Manchester United to Bobby Charlton, and away goes Best. But good tackling there by Dixon. He covered very well indeed there for Reading. It really looked as though Best was right through. And perhaps when he sharpens up in 1st Division football in a month's time or so, he would have been through. Morgan finding Cumming. And Ure to get it away for Manchester United to Tony Dunn. Bobby Charlton. Brian Kidd. And George Best again. Calling for Charlton to come through into a gap. And Charlton's got Law to aim for and Kidd to aim for, and Death getting there, timing it to perfection. Stephen Death, the goalkeeper, who is on loan from West Ham, came to Reading last season and made such an impact that he was voted the most popular player at Elm Park. Morgan to Ure. Crerand. Dunn storming up the left. But instead it's Bobby Charlton, who's been in so much for Manchester United in these opening minutes, and they're giving it straight now to Habin, Dick Habin, the man they got on a free transfer from Cambridge United. Now to Cumming, Gordon Cumming, another free transfer man, this time from Arsenal. And a nice cross there, aimed towards Chappell, getting there well over his head, and Stepney diving at the feet of Reading forwards, risking everything, but getting the ball. Charlton. Of course, two sides here who pride themselves on their ability to attack. And already we've seen that they are both capable of putting in quite useful attacks. Tony Wagstaff to big Stuart Morgan. Habin flipping it there for Chappell, looking for Habin again. You're appealing for offside, and in fact it was given. Now Best. A long ball that finds Morgan. Law. Well, he never really looked as though he would get that wide of Wagstaff, Barry Wagstaff, and Wagstaff finds Williams. Now Habin. Covered by Law and Ure. So back to Williams. Little 1-2 there, Williams right through! Oh, and he tried to do just a little too much. He'd done the difficult work in beating Stepney, but he didn't count on Ure coming up, and here he is again. And United in a fair bit of trouble there, as Chappell turns it, and Stepney goes down. With 6 minutes gone, and Reading so very nearly a goal ahead. Gordon Cumming now. Tony Wagstaff doing good work there. Edwards is there to cover it for Manchester United, but only gets it as far as Butler, a fullback who's come up. But now this may have exposed Reading a little as Morgan takes it up for United. Crerand is available inside, but Barry Wagstaff covering well, but in fact giving away the free kick. So a free kick then to Manchester United. Morgan to Crerand. Crerand getting it across and low. Ure beating Chappell in the air. There's Chappell, formerly with Rotherham. In fact, he was at Rotherham with his manager Jackie Mansell when Jackie was manager there. Here he is again, number 8, scorer of 25 goals last season for Reading. And a useful ball here that finds Habib. Now Tony Wagstaff. And Wagstaff again, and almost put in there by Cummings. And the number 2, Dixon, was right in the thick of it. And now Butler, both full-backs for Reading, well up in these attacks. And a shot beautifully tipped over there from Williams by Stepney. That really was a fine shot here by Bobby Williams. Calming it down, he says, but I think it's United who are very much on edge at the moment. And that superlative save by Stepney, giving this corner to Reading. And here it comes again, Chappell trying to beat it at the near post. But the angle was too difficult, and vastly relieved, Manchester United get a goal kick. Reading, in fact, who scored 8 goals in their last game here, in the third division last season against Southport when they came so close to winning promotion, showing that sort of form already.
Scoring goals, he's back in three.
A free kick now given to Manchester United for the foul on Brian Kidd by Morgan. Morgan now looking after Kidd, keeping close to him as he's been keeping close to Best when Best has been going through the middle. Tony Dunn with it. And in goes Edwards! Paul Edwards, another example of the fullback creeping in. And he really had what was a free header at goal to put Manchester United ahead, 13 minutes gone. That Reading defence just didn't see him.
Well, yet another goal scored from a dead ball movement. There's Tony Dunn there, takes it very sweetly with his left foot, a perfect chip just in the right spot. And Paul Edwards comes flying in, having made up 15 yards of ground, attacking fullback play at its best from a free kick, and heads it just where it should be in the corner of the net. That's a lesson that Reading will have to heed this season.
Scored only one goal last season, Paul Edwards, and already he's equalled that. Ure to Morgan. United fans were queuing outside this ground overnight, and a lot of them, thousands of them, have travelled down from Lancashire and indeed all over Britain. Of course, wherever United play, they get support from all over Britain, and now they must be feeling that that journey was well worthwhile. But now Chappell going through, half stopped by Ure, still bouncing about, and finally Sadler getting it as far as Morgan. Now Creran, very calmly back to his goalkeeper Stepney. Charlton to Sadler. Kidd, watched by Morgan. Charlton and Best have gone into the middle. And Kidd doing very well indeed there for Manchester United. And a fair-looking cross, but straight into the arms of Death, missing Bobby Charlton by a fraction. Tony Wagstaff. Dixon. And Edwards getting in before Havin. The ball's not going out though. And so it's Wagstaff with another chance to curl it across, and Edwards getting this one away. But again, it's Wagstaff for Reading. A nice little flick back there, and a flick through there to Havin! And he's put it in! United appealing for some infringement there, but it's not been given. And that makes it 1-1.
Well, this was a real bit of Brazilian magic from Reading. I think this is a first-class piece of play, which was a pleasure to watch. Just see, as the ball slotted through into the area, there's Les Chappell, who moves to his left, 3 Manchester players round him, and watch this delicate flick off. There it is, flicked off to Cumming, who controls it quickly, very tight space there, slips it across to Dick Havin, who does the rest. There's a brave attempt from Stepney to save it, but the deflection makes no difference because he goes on and makes sure that it's over the line.
Certainly United felt that there was something wrong with that Reading build-up. They had their arms aloft as Havin had the easiest of jobs of finishing it off. So now 1-1 and Creran for Manchester United. A deflection! Oh, and brilliant work in the goal by Death. He probably had that covered fairly comfortably until that deflection. The shot from Creran, number 4, and Death doing supremely well to push that wide. Mr. Tinkler, the referee from Boston, having a word with a policeman at close hand, I would have thought. Something happening in the crowd by that corner flag that he doesn't quite like, but here comes that corner, and Morgan to get it away for Reading. Muir following it in. Oh, and Edwards couldn't control it when he really was in a very promising position. And so it's Stephen Death for Reading, the goalkeeper. So it's Kidd, with Muir making a surprising run down the left. Law screaming for the ball in the middle, but it's Best instead. Best finding Morgan. Going inside Butler. Kidd, plenty of red shirts up there. Law turning it off for Bobby Charlton. And there it goes from Bobby Charlton. The goal's been given, and yet Compton, the train, has been called on. At least my feeling is that the goal's been given, but the ball, I notice, is with Stephen Death.
Well, there's Georgie Best on the ball, who hasn't done much up to now, but that's a great pass out to Morgan on the wing. It gives him the space he needs to take on Butler. And we see the difference between first and third division acceleration. As he moves inside, just leaves him standing. But from then on, it's a good decision by Mr. Tinkler, who, after that foul on Kidd, waves his arm and says play on, and gives Bobby Charlton the chance to hammer it in the goal from there, and from that distance he just doesn't miss.
So Tony Wagstaff for Reading. And of course Havin fractionally offside, caught there by United defenders coming forward. Law making ground quickly, but not quickly enough to beat Barry Wagstaff. Cummings alone up there amongst some United defenders, but in fact he's found Chappell, and good work there by Stepney as well from Chappell. What a good run by Chappell though across that United defence. Here he is, the man who scored 25 goals last season. Tony Wagstaff finding Bobby Williams. It's Gordon Cumming. Williams again. And Tony Wagstaff. The pace now beginning to slacken a bit, as you would expect it to, as this sun really takes its toll. It started off at an unbelievably fast pace, but it was quite clear that they couldn't keep it up, and I would think it must be equally clear that substitutes will come on before the end of this game, as Wagstaff, Tony Wagstaff, puts it across again. Edwards getting it away. Butler trying to follow it in, but Willie Morgan finding Dennis Law. Willie Morgan to Bobby Charlton. Morgan to Kidd. That was aimed towards Crerand. Oh, and there was quite a crunch there between Stuart Morgan, who really is a most uncompromising defender, and Paul Edwards. And in fact, the referee, Ray Tinkler, having a word with Stuart Morgan, and I must say some of his tackling has been a little on the crude side. Pat Crerand then with the kick for Manchester United. Aim towards Law, Death coming out of his goal with his fist. Best just past. Squeals in the crowd as that ball fell to Best, but he didn't catch it properly. And in fact, as yet, we've only seen just a few flashes of Best. Wagstaff looking for Habin, and Muir should get there first, prepare to let it go over for a goal kick to Manchester United. Edwards to Crerand, to Bobby Charlton, and Crerand again. little flick that finds Morgan. Oh, Morgan did well there. Kidd! Oh, good work by Death! Oh, what a fine piece of goalkeeping. A marvellous little flick by Kidd, and Death was always equal to it. That's got the Reading crowd cheering as Williams brings it up again for them. Stopped by Bobby Charlton. Ferrer. And now Law. United looking menacing as a fair number of red shirts coming forward. Here's Best with a little toe-ender, and again Death goes down well. And how good for Manchester United to see Law right in there at the death, as he so often is. No pun intended, but this is one of Law's tremendous abilities to get in and take those little rebounds, and he was right there waiting for it. Now it's coming. And Stepney. Pat Crowe. Oh, look at that ball for Best. And Death again, taking no chances, using his fists. No wonder this fellow Death was most popular player in Reading last season. Charlton and Law. And there's the flag. Has it gone up yet? Well, I think the whistle must have gone. I didn't hear it. And the linesman, in fact, pulled him up long before Dennis put that ball into the net. Chappell to Habib. Williams making ground down the left for him. Chappell again, very tight in there. Williams trying one just high. They work well for each other, Reading, because Williams had the chance to put that ball to Butler, who was steaming up on the left, and acted a little bit as a decoy, gave him just that little bit of room to try a shot of his own. Now it's Stepney then with a goal kick for Manchester United. It really is easy to see how it was that Reading came so close to promotion last season. So much credit to them this afternoon for the exhilarating game that we're seeing here at Elm Park. 2-1 down are Reading, but still very much in this game. Now Bobby Charlton. To Edwards, Law calling for it and getting it there. Now if he can pull it back, he's got Best and Kidd waiting, and Edwards as well, and Bobby Charlton to curl one. Oh, to really hit one. And Barry Wagstaff is going to have some sort of a headache tomorrow. Although, as I say, Reading still in this game, it's ominous the way that Manchester United are coming forward in such strength now, and here's Law, but he couldn't quite control it, and it's a goal kick. Law, who's worked so hard all this summer to get fit for this season, after a really agonising knee injury that has done so much to upset him over the years. Oh, what a poor kick, straight to Bobby Charlton, and Charlton will oblige with a shot, and a goal by Bobby Charlton.
Well, that silly mistake may well have cost Reading the game. That wasn't a very good free kick there from Death, and Bobby Charlton needs no more invitation to score a goal than that, and defenders falling away from him as he bobbles a shot into the far corner of the net. It's still good enough to beat Death, but the defenders should have come for him when they saw him in that dangerous position.
I notice that Dennis Law is almost setting a new style in football strip. He's got his shirt half. Oh no, he's now pulled it down. He was getting a bit of air to his ribs, I think. It really must be frighteningly hot out there now. In fact, with Bobby Charlton on the ball at the moment, it really must be Mexican weather all over again for him as Tony Dunn goes down the left. Watch by Cumming, who's come back to look at him. Sadler's going to have a struggle getting to that one first. And there goes the whistle for half-time, and an exhilarating first half it's been, with Manchester United leading by 3-1 against Reading. Reading 1, Manchester United 3, with Bobby Charlton having scored 2 of those Manchester United goals. So a fine first half, and every possibility, with the way these two sides are playing such attractive attacking football, that we should have a second half that will equal it. So that's the half-time situation. We'll be back for the second half in just a couple of minutes from now.
Fun.
So away we go now for the second half, with Manchester United leading by 3-1. Kidd straight away trying to make that one 4. But well stopped there by Will Dixon. Williams again for Reading. Bobby Charlton to George Best. Trying to go outside Dixon and doing it, screwing it across, and Law putting it in, but the linesman had his flag up. The linesman has got his flag up on the far side, and so it's no goal. And he had his flag up as soon as Law struck that ball. Sadler beating Habin. Now Cumming. Wagstaff. Tony Wagstaff finding that United defence obligingly opening up ahead of him. Cumming putting it back in again. You're in trouble. Cumming again. And Sadler very coolly getting it out to Bobby Charlton. Law. Kidd is completely free over on the left. Playing a nice 1-2 there. All the acceleration in the world there from Dennis Law. But he couldn't quite get past those two Reading defenders. But did enough to get a corner and show that there is so much of that Law fitness is right back again. Really was a very speedy 1-2 that he played there with George Best. And here's Willie Morgan. Oh, down goes Death by that near post, and United looking very good indeed at the moment. Williams calling for Chappell to go inside Dunn, but Chappell is staying out on the wing. So it's Williams again to Tony Wagstaff. A nice little chip there by Wagstaff, just a little too high though. The Reading idea was such a good one. Aimed at that far post there, obviously for Chappell. But here's Stepney now. Will Dixon. You're struggling to get ahead to that ball, and finally succeeds, and it's Sadler bringing it away and switching it now to Law. Crerand. Not too many defenders back, and Law making a tremendous burst through. Now to Best. Men closing in on Best, though. They know they've got to do that fairly quickly. Best in turn finding Crerand. Can he get a shot? Turning it back again, and Death clutching that beautifully above his head. Another fine piece of goalkeeping by this young player. And Tony Wagstaff now for Reading. Slipping Edwards. Now Williams. Chappell looking for it at the far side, getting a hit to it, coming! Oh yes! Beautifully manufactured goal.
Once again, from our camera behind the goal, we see the cleverness of this Reading forward line. First of all, a dummy from Wagstaff, who pretends to play it to the left, catches everyone out by slipping it to the right, and now Bobby Williams takes over and executes this beautiful chip. Just watch how quickly the ball rises. He slides his foot under it, and that's just the height to give a goalkeeper no chance. But it's the power of Chappell's header beating Ewer surprisingly in the air that makes it easy for Cumming to finish the goal off and slap it in the back of the net past a startled step.
But it really was a beautifully designed little goal there by Reading. All credit again to them for that. They played some very attractive football this afternoon, and now here's Bobby Charlton. Dunn going on. Challenged by Cumming. Kidd looking to get ahead to it. But he couldn't get the power. Bell. Cabin. Bell. To Williams. Williams a little flick on, another little flick on, and Chappell is always lurking, but a little too far for him. And he was offside in any case. Bobby Charlton. Kidd going on. Dixon there with him. Kidd still looking to get a shot in. Down he goes, asking for a penalty, and smacking the ground when referee Ray Tinkler says no. Tony Wagstaff. Sharp telling somebody to, Williams it is, to go down the right. He's coming, and now it's Williams. Looking at the far side for Chappell to go in. Yard headed away, and here it goes by Sharp. No, offside. Offside was given. No goal. We come now into the last minute of the game, and Reading still tantalisingly so close to Manchester United. Still this goal down at 3-2. Free kick to Manchester United, and Sadler to take it. Kidd getting ahead to it, no direction, a little power, and a goal kick to Reading. Chappell trying to get above it to get above Ewer, handball given. And so a free kick then to Manchester United. Law with his boot off. It's incredible how often it seems that Dennis Law's boot comes off in the course of a season. But now Kidd. Down he goes. And a free kick given. Right on the edge of that penalty area. Well, we had a goal in the last minute of the first half. A dangerous situation here for Reading, and it might even mean that we have a goal in the last minute of the second half as well. There's the four-man Reading wall. And Best to put it to Bobby Charlton. Oh, and Law missing a chance. Perhaps if he'd had two boots on, he might have got on a little better. But Law certainly wouldn't have been very happy at missing a chance like that. Morgan to Sharp. Sharp going on, they'll have to come to him fairly soon. And now Williams to curl one again into that Manchester United penalty area. Will it go through? Chappell with a shot. Oh, what a save by Stepney. In the very last seconds, a goal there would have made it 3-3. And that really was the save of the match from Alex Stepney. Dixon getting a little bit of assistance from the trainer. And John Fitzpatrick coming on for Manchester United in the last few seconds of this game. Dennis Law has gone off. Well, there seems to be great confusion. Number 12, in fact, is Nick Murphy, so the loudspeaker has just said. So if there's a certain amount of confusion over the Reading substitutes, there is no confusion at all over the score, which is 3-2 to Manchester United. And there was no confusion whatsoever in Stepney's mind when he brought off that beautiful save that brings about this corner, headed away by Best. Coming, putting it towards the near post, Stepney reaching, and this time gathering safely and cleanly. Morgan to Charlton. Willie Morgan, and Fitzpatrick in the thick of it, been scoring goals in practice. Parent to Bobby Charlton, and there goes the final whistle, which puts Manchester United into a Wednesday night semi-final of the Whatney Cup, having beaten Reading with 2 goals by this man Bobby Charlton. 2 goals in the first half by Charlton, with United leading by 3 goals to 2. Goals by Charlton 2 and Edwards, with Habin and Cumming having replied very bravely indeed for Reading. So an exhilarating first match of the season, with a final score that reads Reading 2, Manchester United 3.
Well, let's just keep the record straight. The Reading number 12 was in fact Nick Murphy, son of Manchester United's Jimmy Murphy. So Manchester United go through to the semi-final. Let's just catch up on the results in the first round yesterday. Reading 2, Manchester United 3, Fulham 3, Derby County 5, Aldershot 0, Sheffield United 6, Peterborough 0, Hull City 4, 23 goals. And that leaves the semi-final lineup looking like this. Hull City against Manchester United, Derby County against Sheffield United. And the match that you can see on ITV on Wednesday night at 10:30, Derby County against Sheffield United, so make a date for that. Now let's have some more action. And we had 5 goals at Reading yesterday. I suppose quite easily it might have been 15, but for some really brilliant goalkeeping by Alex Stepney of Manchester United and Stephen Death of Reading. This is some of their best form.
Brian Kidd and George Best again, calling for Charlton to come through into a gap, and Charlton's got Law to aim for and Kidd to aim for, and Death getting there, timing it to perfection. To Cumming, Gordon Cumming, another free transfer man, this time from Arsenal, and a nice cross there, aimed towards Chappell, getting there well with his head, and Stepney diving at the feet of Reading forwards. So now 1-1 and Crerand for Manchester United. A deflection! Oh, and brilliant work in the goal by Death. And Crerand again. A little flick that finds Morgan. Oh, Morgan did well there. Kidd! Oh, good work by Death. And now Law. United looking menacing as a fair number of red shirts coming forward. Here's Best with a little toe-ender, and again Death goes down well. 1 against 1, the most dangerous situation for any defence when Best is in control. Finding Ure. Best again, just beaten at the last by Death. And now Williams to curl one again into that Manchester United penalty area. Will it go through? Chappell with a shot. Oh, what a save by Stepney.
Some really wonderful goalkeeping skills there. But now let's take a closer look at the game as a whole. I should just say, with the panel, and I should just say that Bob McNabb of Arsenal, he's with them in Scandinavia, so he can't be with us. Derek Dugan, alas, is with Wolves in Holland, but they'll be back later in the Whatney Cup. Most certainly here, Malcolm Allison and Pat Crerand, with them Jimmy Hill.
Well, the boys have just got back, of course, from the Brazilian embassy, where they've been celebrating for the last 3 months. But first of all, Paddy, what I want to ask you is about Reading's performance yesterday. What do you think of that?
I thought they played extremely well for a third division team. They gave us quite a few frights during the game.
Do you think they've got a chance of winning their division?
It's hard to say. Sometimes it's a bit false when you see games at the beginning of the season. You know, that's not really the true thing of teams. You can't really say at the beginning of the season, you know. You need to wait. The season's so long before you can really judge.
The quality of their football, though, I mean, we've
Yeah,
seen
it was exceptionally good.
It was very, very good.
Exceptionally good it was.
If there's a failing, where is it, would you say, in the side?
It's hard to say, probably. As I said, I've only saw them once and played against them once, and it's hard to say really well. They didn't see many failings in their team yesterday anyway.
Making you run around a bit. Malcolm, you've a respect, I know, for Jack Mansour, the manager of Reading. What sort of job do you think he's done up to now?
Well, Jack's done a very good job. He did a very good job at Rotherham, and he's pulled this team up from really struggling in the third division to being a very useful side. I felt that their defence was in a bit of trouble yesterday, but looking at them 5 forwards, I think any defence would be in trouble.
Backed up by Paddy Crerand, of course, behind. Yeah. Well, anything else you notice about the Reading side? Any player particularly took your fancy?
I was very impressed with Chappell. I thought he looks a very effective player, takes up a lot of good positions. And I was also impressed with Williams.
Yeah.
He crossed 2 great balls. One was a goal, and the other one might have been a goal when Stepney made that great save at the end of the match.
I thought probably, Malcolm, that during the game being there, the number 4 Terry Bell was their best player. I thought he played very well.
They picked him up
for
from
them.
Hartlepool. A useful buy.
I thought he played very well.
Well, the story yesterday for me was the Dennis Law story. Everybody was wondering how he was going to play, and I must say, I don't know what Malcolm's just seen it now, but I was very impressed with Dennis's performance. He seems to have accepted this challenge of being stuck on the transfer list as if United don't want him, and he was very sharp and very enthusiastic right the way through. Just look at this scamper here up the right wing. He gets the ball and shows that at 30 years of age, at least there's nothing wrong physically with him. There's all the enthusiasm, a deft little pass there through to Edwards, bringing about that dangerous cross. And just watch now this header, how well he gets up in the air there and wins that ball from the goalkeeper in the centre half and lays on that chance for Georgie Best. But he's got wonderful acceleration and the ability to stop. There's a good pass from Edwards, but watch the speed he's running and how neatly and quickly he stops, evades that tackle, and how hard he tries on to lay that pass just right into Bobby Charlton's path for his shot. And he's always getting in the 6-yard box. He wasn't flagging at all in the sun. And when Georgie Best goes down the wing here and lays this ball across, it's given offside, but he's in there to finish it off, leading his man, striking into the heart of the opponent's defence. And just at the end of the game, when you might expect to see him tiring, he does this wall pass here and shows he goes the long way round once he lays it. There he picks the ball up, lays it inside, and just watch the acceleration on the run there as he goes. Look at that acceleration for a man of 30. He's just stopped in the end, but I think Dennis Law is a long way from being finished, and I want to ask you, Malcolm, about him as a player at 30, offered up for £60,000.
Well, it looks like bad news for the first division clubs. Looks like that Dennis is back. I believe that he's been training very hard this year. I know that he's been training on his own, and he looks much fitter than I've ever seen him for 3 or 4 years. But I think that Dennis has made up his mind that he's going to show him that he can still play.
Do you think this sort of psychological move, it may turn out to be a psychological move? United put him on the list, it's a challenge to him at his age, and he accepts it and comes back and said, I'm not going to leave this club.
Probably it is, but he's had a lot of injuries, Dennis, and I think he's been unfortunate. You know, it's just like this boy, Tony Green. He was out for a year, and he came back in his first game, he's got a pulled muscle. And I think when Dennis came back after one injury, he got another injury, and I think that he lost a bit of enthusiasm for the game, but he seems to have plenty of enthusiasm now.
Paddy, Dennis seems to have done more training than anybody. Is that true? He seemed fitter and sharper than anybody yesterday.
He's been training he trained all during the close season, but the thing about Dennis, I think, is Dennis has got tremendous pride in himself. You know, that Dennis Law doesn't want to be the second best player in any team or in any country. He wants to be the best. And I've always been confident that Dennis had come back to the Dennis Law he was of 2 or 3 years ago. I'm sure yesterday was the start of it.
That will be exciting news, and exciting news for United and also everybody else, because I think he's a wonderful player to watch when he's really going. But from one wonderful player, Paddy, to another, you didn't think you were going to get away. I've been waiting for 3 months now to show you your match yesterday, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to show Paddy Crerand at his best and worst, playing for Manchester United against Reading.
Thank you
Here
very
it comes
much,
now. I ask for silence while I'm talking about it, and you can come in afterwards. There's the cool veteran laying back that ball very quickly to his goalkeeper. And now we get Crerand, the potential scorer. We've seen this before, but just look at the power in that clenched shot as it flashes in. And now Crerand, the fierce tackler. As the Reading player advances with this ball, we see as you collapse onto the floor, the strength of that tackle there. And then the pleasant ball laid off to Bobby Charlton to set him going. And now we look at Creran, the midfield general, with all the enthusiasm of a young player. Gentle ball to Bobby Charlton. In fact, it goes wrong there. The ball's lost. But there you are, fighting back, chasing back there to try and catch that man. In fact, you do catch him and stop him and pull him up in full flight. But now we get Creran, the through runner. And this part of your game, I think you've got to work on a bit. I think you're a bit frightened how far forward you are there, and a few hesitant steps, and you lose it. And then this time, flashing up the middle. There you go, in the inside left position. Flashing through there, a little trick that didn't work, and a pause for breath before you stagger back to your position in the middle of the field. Your comment on your own performance yesterday, Paddy Creran?
Oh, it wasn't too bad. It could have been better, probably.
Do you think you're in for a good season?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say at the start of the season. Usually, we could have played better yesterday than probably what we did play. There were spells in the game when we didn't really play particularly well. But last year, before the season started, we played 2 games, and we played magnificently the 2 games. And then when the season started, we didn't win a game for the first 8 or 9 matches.
You're reversing the order this year. So, Malcolm Allison.
Well, I thought, I wasn't sure.
Thinks I'm beautiful.
He's got 2 great feet, you know. He's good in the air and he's a great tackler.
Do you think he's increased his speed since last year?
Paddy's a good
I'm
reader.
off. That's enough. Take a mic out of you.
Pad's a good reader of the game. You know, he's one of these players who can control the game, can slow the game down, you know, slow situation. And with some of these forwards he's got playing in front of him, you know, he might create 1 or 2 chances for him this year.
Yeah. What about United generally? Now, we saw that match yesterday. It is early in the season, and I don't think we should take too much notice of it, but I wasn't particularly impressed with George Best again. It doesn't seem to me as if he's got, for instance, anything like Dennis Law's enthusiasm. What do you think?
I think probably, as I say, it's the first game of the season, and the first game of the season is always very hard. You know, I think it's harder as well. I was talking to Malcolm earlier about playing against teams not in the first division. Sometimes it's very hard to play against them because they're trying like hell. You know, and you don't have the same respect for them as they have for you, probably. I
thought your defence was wobbly yesterday, however early in the season it is. Reading played well, but they cut through it at times like a knife through butter. How can you leave Nobby Stiles out of a team like that?
Well, I think it's very difficult, must be very difficult for Paddy to answer that, but...
we won't let him.
Wilf McGuinness must feel that this is his best side, you know. Looking at the, I mean, it looks like John Fitzpatrick's been playing well. He's not in the team, and Nobby's evidently been training hard and playing well. And he went with the England team last year. And yet, who's he going to leave out of his side?
Well, who is he, Malcolm?
Well, you know, you can only leave Pat out. No, it's very difficult. You know, he's either...
I think it's very fortunate for our club that they've got so many good players fighting for so few positions. You know, I think it's a great thing for the club.
Defensively, they probably need him. You know, with that, they look like they've got 5 definite forwards now, and they're going to need fellas who can really defend. You know.
Do you think? Well, I don't think. I mean, it will be seen how it goes on during the season, but I don't think that they have got that number of strong defenders, and I don't think the defence is tight yet, and I think a lot of work's got to be done. Do you think you can improve on 8th, Paddy, this year in the division?
I would like to think so. Anyway, I think probably that Manchester United will be challenging with 3 or 4 other clubs for the Championship this year.
Oh well, that's a good prediction. But back to the Whatney Man Cup now. You know, we've got the rest of our prediction time to come. But first of all, did you find it too early to play a competitive game, Paddy? Do you think that's a bad thing? 'Cause you've only been training for 2 weeks.
No, I think it's better to play competitive matches. As I say, probably it's better to play in the likes of the Whatney Man competition where it is really competitive, rather than play a friendly against some team where it doesn't count all that much. I think it's probably good for us that we're in a competition that is competitive this early in the season.
Malcolm Allison, your team played yesterday at Oxford United
stuff.
and lost 4-1. Can we have your explanation, please?
Well, we tried a new system. I don't think it worked, Jim.
Were you playing your all-out attacking system, the one that you recommended to Sir Alf Ramsey?
Definitely. We played some great stuff yesterday, you know, but we kept giving the other team the ball.
What about Oxford United? Chance for them this season?
They worked very hard. Oxford have done fantastic. I mean, for the Southern League 7 years ago and in the 2nd Division now.
Yeah.
They worked hard and, you know, things went well for them. And, you know, when you get these local referees and linesmen, you know, you've got no
No. Well, now let's go back to the Whatney man. What about the Hull City-Manchester United match? Malcolm Allison, how do you read that for Wednesday night?
I think it'll be a very difficult game for Manchester United. And I think that Hull City have got some very useful forwards. Butler is a very good outside left, great left foot. This big centre forward they got, Chilton, very good player, very good player. And I think that, Pat, you're going to have your hands full Wednesday.
Are you confident, Pat, of that match, or are you a little
I'll
bit
tell you,
worried?
I'll say something about Hull City. They'll have their hands full as well. They'll have more trouble than we'll have, I imagine.
I think Hull City are going to do well in that match, because I think there'll be 45,000 people there and it'll really go. But the other match, of course, a fascinating one, Derby County and Sheffield United. All those goals, 5 goals from one, 6 from the other. How do you read that one?
I think that Derby will just win. You know, they got the advantage of their ground, and I think that they'll win. But I think one player who caused them a tremendous amount of trouble is this fellow Woodward, who is a really good player, a very good player outside right.
Paddy Querin, do you go
I
along
probably
with
would
that
imagine that Derby will beat them as well, having the home advantage. But as I say, early on in the season, when teams are of the same fitness, it's very hard, you know, to really judge football, because I'm sure you could get some strange results early on in the season anyway.
It looks like their forwards are in form yesterday anyway. One of them got 6, the other one got 5 away from home.
Yeah.
You know, it's tremendous goals away from home.
Do
So
you think the World Cup's made a difference on this, on people's attitude to it?
I tell you what, 1 or 2 managers be worried about the defences. I'm a bit worried myself.
No, I think it's tremendous, you know, they think that 4 games in the Whatney man competition and there was 23 goals. It's a pity that the whole season couldn't continue like this.
Well, there it is. There it's all from our experts. It's nice to know that they're in form at the start of the season anyway. I'm looking forward to Wednesday night. And now back to the man who'll bring that match to you, Brian Moore.
Well, that's it for today. Certainly hope very much that you've enjoyed it. Remember, as we say, there's more football on ITV on Wednesday night at 10:30 when we bring you the highlights of that semi-final, Derby County against Sheffield United. That really should be quite a game. 2 teams, as the lad said, who scored 11 goals between them away from home yesterday. That's some form. The panel, of course, will be back with Bob McNabb and Derek Dugan as well. I hope, as I say, you've enjoyed it today. See you on Wednesday night. And now, goodbye.